It sounds like you spent a lot of time in graveyards doing like the pyre meditation and funeral meditation. Can you talk more about those practices? Like what you're actually doing, spending all those years in the charnel ground?
See, this practice is a very secret. We are asked by our gurus not to discuss them openly because they can bring people into interest and get into trouble. Entire cremation ground practices, the essence is two. One is what Lord Buddha said of smashanika, that when a higher bodhisattva should live minimum 3 months in a cremation ground. Why? Seeing the futility of the body that he cared so much. This is a very poignant practice of seeing human bodies burning, decaying. That creates a huge subconscious understanding of the futility of the form. When the futility of form starts, it goes to the other skandhas or other elements, the futility of emotions, the futility of thoughts, the futility of judgments, the futility of the self. There are other practices. Those are more magical, that is why they should not be spoken, but I will say the essence of it. Death is the ultimate truth of human mundane life. A child will be born or not, we cannot assure. But one who is born will die, it is assured. So the truth of life is death. This is what St. Francis says, that my life is Christ and death is meeting him. It is not only a devotional word, it's a very deep thing. So, entire practice of the Siddha school is to experience death in life. There are 5 deaths. First is the death of the body, which is the death of sexuality, practiced through Amorali, Vajrali, and Sahajali mudras, according to the samskara, the quality of the practitioner. How, if you stop the cause of birth in you, that sexuality is the cause of birth, you can stop it. Then the Siddhas call them the living dead or the zombie. The term is Betala Siddhi or accomplishment of a zombie. That it is metaphor. The real thing is transcending sex. So that is the physical death in metaphor. The emotional death is when your deepest devotion end up, in my case, it's Tara. Tara lives in cremation ground. I'm living in cremation ground. And cremation ground is supporting my devotion till death. So that is the death of the emotion. So this is also like cremation ground or graveyard or places where you will get that sense of voidness or nothingness very prominent if you sit and meditate. Is the esoteric value. Then there is to help people, compassion, exorcism. Like there are many spirits who are not liberated, they're suffering. How to liberate? By knowing that, you will know how to exorcise a demon or an evil spirit from a person, how to even be compassionate to evil spirits and demons and tame them with your love and compassion. And they become servants of the practitioner. I've done many of them. Also, I will say, from my view of an artist, sometimes the most beautiful thing in human eyes is nature. Entire aesthetics is derived from nature. And the ultimate jurisdiction of nature on all living beings is death. So there is terrible, terrific beauty of the cremation ground. I don't know how to give words to it, but the fearful form of Mahakal or Kali or wrathful Tara or Trumanatmo, Noiratma, there is such a beauty that attracted me, that wrathfulness. So the wrathful practices are very much connected to death because every wrathful practice you are taking, you are killing a part of your samskara or your characterization. Like the practice of Candali. Why it is called Candali? Candali means a funeral worker ready. Because in the chakras, our horizontal layers, 7 layers of mind are in 7 chakras. So when you are uprising the Chandali, it incurs a heat that every chakra holding the toxins that are the record of the karmas will get burnt. And that happens best in cremation ground. And in my experience, when a funeral pyre is burning, you are looking at it. If you can correlate that fire inside you, then the inner power fire gets very high, and you start seeing that the dead body which is burning in the funeral pyre is very much you. It's like a psychological death, not negative, very positive. Cremation ground practices we call in Indian system Bolidan or sacrificing yourself. Generally, most Nakpas start with that, but they do the beating of the damburu, the bell, and chanting. But the way I have learned it is a breathing process by which you go through the 7 layers of your being. Like first you offer your skin, then you offer your blood, then you offer your flesh, then you offer your bones, then you offer your bone marrows, then you offer the brain. Ultimately, you offer the brain fluid, which is making your reproductive cells. All these stages are not only imaginary chanting, they are through the technique of breathing, you are eliminating each of these layers that only can be experienced through the instructions and empowerments of a guru. This cannot be explained or said.